because when I was young, I was thinking about what do I have to do when I get older. So I thought like, okay, my main idea was to become an engineer, but I said I don't like maths a lot. So I prefer to teach English, and I actually was very good at English at school. So I said like, okay, it's time to start learning English, and why not to teach students how to learn English in a funny way.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today at Students at the Microphone. I'm really glad to be able to see all of you, and we have a very special guest today, Teacher Sebastian Arias. He is the head of our English department at our school. So tell me, how are you today?
I'm very glad to be here, actually, thank you.
Yeah, it's also a pleasure. We've met a while before, so I know you and it's nice to talk to you. So I have a big question for you, and I guess the viewers might want to know too. What motivated you to become a teacher?
Actually, this is more interesting than what you are supposed to think, because when I was young, I was thinking about what do I have to do when I get older. So I thought like, okay, my main idea was to become an engineer, but I said I don't like maths a lot. So I prefer to teach English, and I actually was very good at English at school. So I said like, okay, it's time to start learning English, and why not to teach students how to learn English in a funny way.
Yeah, I'm really glad you decided to become a teacher. You're like one of the best English teachers I've had, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for becoming a teacher. Well, you kind of answered that question, but I wanted to emphasize more. Like, why did you decide to become an English teacher in specifical? Because I guess you must have had other choices.
Well, when I was at school, the English classes were like so boring, you know?
Yeah.
But when I was in 10th grade, I got classes with a teacher. His name is Juan Francisco. And he taught me about English, but in a funny way, with games, with sports, with lyrics. So it was like a change in my mind. He changed my word, my point of view about the learning process of English. So I said like, okay, he make English funny to me. So I want to encourage my students to understand English is also a funny way to learn. So I want to help my students to get better at English, but as well getting fun.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because I've had both good teachers and bad teachers, and teaching English in a funny way is just amazing. It sounds nonsensical, but once you feel it for yourself, you realize the difference. I wanted to ask you, since we live in a Spanish-speaking country, what are some challenges? What's something difficult about teaching English here?
Well, we have two big challenges actually, or my point of view. The first one is that most of the people over here don't have like a very huge contact with use of English, you know? Because for example, when you want to buy something, you need to buy meat or chicken or something like that. You go to the store, but you buy it in Spanish, so you don't need English to help your life. So the first challenge is that to create a scenario where students or people may need use English. So to face that in the classroom is really hard. So most of the students says, teacher, but why do you speak in English? But that's the idea. So that's the big challenge. And the second one is interaction and time to use English. It's too related to the next one, to the previous one, sorry, but it's more focused about how can the students use it by their own without being over here. Like you have to know, you are free to use it, so go ahead. So that's the difficult one. So I think those are the most difficult challenges. And also something interesting is that, for example, in some cases, not in our institution, but most of the situations, in a single class, there are a group of students with different English levels. So that's difficult to manage, but the idea is to overcome the situations.
Yeah, now that you mentioned the English levels, that makes me want to ask you something. I bet the viewers might want to know too. How do the English levels work here in our school? How do the students decide to, how do you as a teacher decide which student goes to which level? How are they classified? How does it all work?
Okay, so in our institution, we have English levels. since 6th grade until 10th grade, right? So students at the beginning of the school year, they have to present a placement test. We got the results with reading skills, speaking skills, listening skills, and writing skills. So they overcome this placement test, they gave us the results, and we understand that based on the placement test, you achieve a level. So you are placed on A2 or A1 or B2 or B1. And based on that, we are going to build or separate students per level according to the score they got. For example, if you got A2 plus, so you are going to be on A1.2 and so on, ready? So that's the way we classify them. But more than, we are more focused on communicational skills because that's more important for us. So the idea is to encourage students to face a classroom where they are sharing experience with students with their same English level, as well as facing challenges with interactive games as well.
Yeah, like that way of organizing things is so useful here. Like I've gone to a multitude of schools, but this is probably the best way. Like I've seen people teach English at schools, and more about teaching English. So I know I've heard that in preschool to 4th grade there is a bilingualism process going on. And it started a little while ago, and I wanted to know how is it all working over there? How are you all doing things?
Well, it is interesting, right? Because this process is really beautiful. Because when you go to these classrooms, you go with little students, and they are like asking questions, interacting between them in English. So that's very satisfactory for us being a teachers. So this process, it's a bilingual process. We teach subjects in English, such as maths, science, lab, robotics, social studies, English as well. Well, the idea on these cases is that students can face an English class with the teachers, talking the whole time in English, interacting in English, learning in English, and the idea is that we can become the first bilingual school here in Girardot. This process began on 222, and the idea is that we can achieve being the first bilingual school here in Girardot, and the idea is to encourage people that they can believe in the process and they can understand that their students can get bilingual too.
Yeah, and has it shown any results? Like I'm genuinely curious about like compared to people who arrived here before the process started, and comparing it to people that have been through the process in those like the starting years of school. Has it shown any difference in the English levels?
Of course. I mean, for example, in this moment we are in the 4th grade, right? And for example, we have some new students in 4th grade. Basically, most of the new students have some troubles or some situations that they can understand properly the teachers because we speak the whole time in English. There are some instructions, commands, specific words, and they don't understand very good. But based on the process, we help them, we give them extra work, we give them extra activities, and through this they can reach better English level and they can overcome this type of situations. But as well, it happens.
So I wanted to ask, like, in this school you can learn both virtually and in presential, and I wanted to ask, what are some differences in them? Since I know you have taught in both, I wanted to know like what differences they are and if it's more difficult to teach in one compared to the other.
I mean, there are different challenges. There are no one that is most difficult than the other one, but both are very hard, because first of all, you need to encourage students to love your class. That's my main goal. But even if you are in virtuality or face-to-face classes, there are a lot of situations that you can't manage as well. For example, when you are on a virtual class, you are only working 2 hours per week with them. So basically, in 2 hours, you need to explain the topic, to practice with them, to interact with them, to practice listening, speaking, writing. So to manage that situations or to manage your time, it's really difficult. But if you organize it well, it helps a lot. Actually, I work with virtuality with students from preschool until 5th grade, basically the whole primary. And I've got very good results. Our institution has got very good results, but most of the time, most difficult things it's to get time to work with them specifically. And in face-to-face classes is different because you have the students here, there are more time to work with them, you can play more activities, you can manage the situation with them. So it's easier to work if you consider it, but both have different challenges.
Yeah, like I've been in both personally. I've had my time in virtual and here. And honestly, yeah, you're right. It's way easier to learn here. Not just English, just in general, any class in presential is easier. But everyone has still done such a great job to teach in virtual school. But yeah, I think that is everything for today. Thank you very much for joining us today, for talking to me, talking to the people here watching at home. I learned a lot, and I bet the viewers did too. So thank you so much.
No worries, and I hope you have enjoyed today's situation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And thank all of you for watching today. And I hope I can catch you tomorrow, or next day, or next week. And you see another one of our episodes. And please remember to follow us in all our social media platforms. And I hope I see you soon. Bye.
Uy, el mensaje es claro, no duden en adoptar porque cuando adoptamos no solamente adoptamos un animal, sino adoptamos amor, lealtad, fidelidad, incondicionalidad.